Oh god, I love that fucking intro. What the fuck is up, y'all? It is KreyzMcKormik up in this motherfucking bitch. And excuse me for a minute, just gotta resituate myself. As you can see, things have changed a little bit. Down there, we've got the donations box, which basically is just for uh, what have you with when it concerns fucking Streamlabs and shit, and Spooky Tuesday being the new stream boss. So enough of that. Basically, I do have to say I apologize for the show being a little bit tardy due to the fact that I ended up having a run with Amazon Flex. Started at quarter after 6, was supposed to end at 8:45, and it took me directly down to L Town, Lansing, Michigan, and it kind of sucked. They only gave me 7 packages, 3 of which I had to actually return for some dumb fucking reason. For some reason, they decide, hey, by by the time your shift even starts, these 3 locations will already be closed. But could you please at least try to send these packages over to these businesses? Like, what the fuck? Oh, well, whatever the hell. I mean, it was well over $18 an hour just to drive to L Town and back. The only downside to that entire fiasco was the fact that by the time I was done with my shift, Mr. Taco was already closed, so I wasn't able to get my 2 bean and cheese burritos with extra cheese and a fucking cherry burro, which I love. I love those things. They are utterly delicious. It's basically a fried burrito with fucking pie filling in it, and then they deep fry it and then sprinkle sugar on it. It's fucking diabetic as fuck. I love it. But nevertheless, unfortunately, that was the reason why. But you know what? I need to get paid, especially since I've got some other things that are going on in my life. Uh, Due to some events that happened yesterday, actually really fucked up my schedule with work both yesterday and today because I was actually planning on doing some stuff also with Amazon Flex last night and this afternoon, which is why earlier today instead I decided to play Slayers on Super Famicom instead. So basically, this is how the skinny was. I got a call from my mom in the middle of my afternoon shift yesterday with Amazon Flex, and she asked me if I was working later that evening. I said I was intending to, and she said, "Well, here's the problem. Uh, she every week she drives down to Holland, Michigan, in order to do a pool tournament, and at the same time, my son was having a little art thing at the high school within his school district. So she asked me to take him and the other 4 kids with me to go to this thing and check it out. Okay, cool. Uh, we had to be there by 6 o'clock, and what ends up happening is right off the get, we get in, they give us these vouchers for a raffle. Uh, I took a look at some of the stuff that the raffle had, and nothing really piqued of interest. So what the fuck is the point in having this raffle? I mean, if they had a gold Famicom cart of fucking Punch Out, I would have been cool with it because those things are worth $300. There's the next objective. That's the next objective for anybody that's actually curious. A $300 gold cart Famicom version of Punch Out. That's the next major objective since I already have Earthbound. Continuing along with this, though, they had these they had these kiosks in the gym in the main floor, but then you go upstairs and that's where all the art is. And I ended up seeing a couple of things that I liked. Apparently, a lot of kids in that middle school that my son goes to really like dragons, which is cool because that's like inadvertently a shout out to good old KreyzMcKormik if you think about it, and that's the way I look at it. So but the thing that my son ended up making, um, what my son ended up making was a watercolor brown bunny, which for his age and things of that nature, it was actually pretty good. I felt that it was a pretty tight deal, so cool. As far as I'm concerned, when it concerns my son, fucking, you know, get your art on. art takes place in many forms, and I'm happy about that. But one thing I will have to say that really caught my eye and was absolutely in awe of myself. Uh, right before you walk into the main area, they had this one picture that some kid stenciled the man, Stan Lee, in pencil, and it was a very, very good project. Um, I saw that and I was just like, oh my god, I cannot believe how fucking dope this looked. It looked absolutely fucking awesome to see that there's a kid in this grade or somewhere around my son's grade that has a very good appreciation for Stan Lee as well as all of his works that he had done. And it didn't even look like Stan Lee right before he passed away or throughout the last couple of years. Uh, it actually looked like Stan Lee when Stan Lee was in Mallrats. So like early 90s Stan Lee, which I thought was absolutely dope. And and it looked exactly like the man. So, whoever that kid was, what the fuck? Oh, my mom's up there doing something. She had to move a table. My mom's like directly above me. So, coming to you live from mom's basement studios here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So, anyways, so I thought that this was really cool, seeing that type of thing. Now, since we're on the subject of art, as I said before, art comes in many different fashions, and in this case, we got to talk about the realm of music. Uh, so, some of y'all know, due to the fact that, basically, Big Will of Big Will Entertainment, hashtag Let's Get Gay. Go ahead and throw out that hashtag out there. Um, Big Well Entertainment, along with Everybody Eats, ended up doing a co-project in Toledo, Ohio, which was headlined by Maximum Overload and Madness of Bedlam. And I thought that was cool as fuck to be there and to see people that I know from here and, was able to show some fucking love with that. Now, Violent George with that $2 Tominated. We're going to get into that, son. We are going to get into that. So make sure that you stick around. And as of right now, Violent George is the fucking king of Streamlabs as at this given point in time. Now I know it's not showing up because like right now all of the Streamlabs donations are going towards XSplit, and I want everybody to see where I'm at thus far with it. So I ended up having a 3-hour drive to take me down to Toledo, Ohio, which is pretty much the reason why I was not able to do the Crazy House podcast last week, Wednesday, for two reasons, that being one of them. And the second reason was at the time I really didn't feel like there was a whole lot to talk about, and I didn't want to rush shit in order to try to just even have a show. Unfortunately for this show, I didn't really see very much going on in the Juggalo community that CPN won't talk about, so apparently I have to basically be the Juggalo Keemstar in the later end of this episode. So, as you saw, instead I decided that I'm just going, like everybody at Madness's house when we went to the vault, I had to go, I drove like the day after, on Thursday, I ended up driving from Grand Rapids to Romulus, Michigan to go pick up Maximum Overload, and then drive up to Flint, pick up Big Will, and then finally go to Saginaw and hang out at the vault in Saginaw, Michigan. So I thought that was actually pretty cool. Of course, everybody but me all got drunk, and y'all saw that fucking live stream. That was actually a pretty good fucking live stream, as far as I'm concerned. Of course, you know, you get three drunk motherfuckers together in one room. There's a lot of screaming and a lot of things that probably should not have been said. But you know what? As far as I'm concerned, I don't give a fuck. I was entertained watching y'all motherfuckers get drunk. So, with that being said, you know, that was one reason why I didn't do the podcast last week, because I needed to get sleep, because I knew that there was going. I did, to be totally honest, I didn't know that I was going to have to drive drive through Flint in order to pick up Big Will, and you know, and things of that nature. As far as I knew, I was just going to be picking up Maximum Overload, or I was going to meet up with him at the vault, because I didn't know if he had a ride there or anything. But apparently, I had to take Max myself, because the rental uh, that he and Wolf were supposed to get, they weren't able to get it until the day after. So a little bit of an interesting side note when it concerns the stuff that went offline. Uh, After we went offline, basically, I ended up having to take Big Will to go on another fucking alcohol run, and had to get a half gallon of some cheap booze, because I'll tell you this: Madness is cool with cheap booze. He even showed us videos of him swigging on cheap ass booze, which now the cheap booze that he used to drink back when Bedlam was a 3-part set is now popular. It's kind of like the same thing with how PBR is now popular, because all of the fucking hipsters like to drink PBR, despite the fact that PBR used to be like $5 a fucking pitcher at insert bar name here. Any bar that you would go to, they would serve PBR $5 a fucking pitcher. Now it's probably like $20 a pitcher, because all the hipsters want to fucking drink PBR, which really says a lot of bad things about Captain Flannel now, because, you know, PBR is his booze of choice. So we go and we drink vodka, you know, so we go and we get up some vodka and shit, and verbal droppings with that $5. Um, I should probably check and see if these are actually having commentary on these, by the way, now that I think about it. And Verbal Droppings is currently the, uh, Verbal Droppings is currently the king of Streamlabs. Okay. Okay, I see it. So if they do actually write something, then it should pop up. So, so anyway, well, I mean, yes, for some locations, probably. All right, well, thank you, Verbal Droppings. So, anywho, so I ended up going. We sat there to fucking, you know, we went to the liquor store. We got some liquor, which was interesting, because it's like, oh, okay, Madness, who is the homebody there in Saginaw, asks a guy from Grand Rapids, Michigan, to go through Saginaw to go to a fucking liquor store to buy cheap liquor. Luckily, Saginaw doesn't look any different from Lansing, and I'm from Lansing, Michigan, so I was cool with it. Max being in a foreign land, and that's his words, you know, uh, that type of, that type of thing. Yeah, that wasn't going down. Not to mention, he probably should have come with us, but instead he stayed there where all of the fresh liquor already was. And nevertheless, though, we ended up going there. We got the liquor. I put it in the fridge, because I was the only one who was able to stand straight. And we ended up going ahead, and we continued partying and shit like that. Max polished off some booze. Everybody's having a conversation and shit. By the time Max finally settled down, me, Big Will, and Madness were watching Bedlam videos until Will passed the fuck out, and then me and Madness ended up having a conversation until about 6 in the morning. I woke those guys up. Them suffering from a hangover or still being drunk, one of the two, doesn't matter. Uh, you know, Piled them into my car. I dropped off Big Will, and I took Madness back to the car. Now, my intention was to actually drive back home, which would only have been like a 2-hour drive. But I was too tired to fucking drive, so I stayed there for a couple of hours. Uh, Me and Max ended up waking up around noon. We ended up having some breakfast, and then after that, I took him back to the hotel, and I took off and went back home. Didn't even work that day. Ended up just canceling all of my shit and said to fuck with it. I am just going to go back to bed. And I slept from like six o'clock until about 9:30, and then stayed up for a couple of hours and then went right back to bed. So I caught up on all my sleep at least. But the next day I ended up having to do one shift and then drove straight from here to Toledo, Ohio, where I ended up bumping into a slew of Jugganati. Jugganati was rolling deep in that bitch, son. No lie. I mean, other than myself, Max, Wolf, Madness, we also had Violent George, KJ Riddle, Zay, and Zay brought a fucking crew of like 3 other ninjas. And then also there was Miss Moon and her plus one, who I can't remember what his fucking name is, but plus one. And then there was also this dude who called himself Juggalo Matt that ended up coming into the fold, and he was chilling with us and stuff. And it was a bomb ass fucking show. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a really bomb ass show. Zay opened it up, and then after that, we just kind of fucked around, just chilling with each other and things of that nature. Um, I gave Zay some love and showed him some support. And by the way, in case you guys did not pay attention to my community chats that I posted up on there that night, I ended up getting $15 in real life super chats. I got the live super chats of $5 from KJ Riddle and a $10 coming from Violent George, which Violent George, where the fuck are you right now? Because you have a fucking throne to uphold, son. Because somebody else has got you beat as of right now. As of right now, Verbal Droppings is king of STREAMLAB. So, dog, where the fuck you at? So, with that being said, also ended up supporting Madness. To be perfectly honest, this is the first time I ever seen Madness perform, and I was floored. I was absolutely floored. Such an honor to have him as a friend, and such an honor to be able to support my homie in that fashion. And Maximum Overload ended up finishing it out at 11 o'clock at night. Was around the time that he ended up wrapping shit up, and and he fucking killed it as well. Obviously, he played Capstone. He played Mind Games. He ended up playing some new shit that's going to be coming out soon. And what's funny is I ended up taking a picture of Zay, and I posted it also into the communities, into the community chat and stuff. And I ended up getting one person, I can't remember who it was, but somebody ended up saying, "Why is nobody live streaming this?" Well, for one, Wolf was live streaming it on Facebook, and it was exclusive on the Jugganati Facebook group page that we have. You want to be up in there, there's a link below in the description. So go up in there and ask for a request. I'm a mod, and there's other mods in there that will gladly accept you. I mean, obviously, I can't do shit right now because I'm a little bit busy doing the podcast. Nevertheless, there is that. But one thing that you guys don't know about me, though, is the fact that when I go to a show, I'm not there to fucking live stream or GoPro or anything when it concerns the show. Fuck that shit. I'm there to enjoy the show. I'm there to show love to my fucking homies. If you want to watch the show, my suggestion is to fucking show at the show. I understand that there's going to be some ninjas that are not going to be able to do that type of shit. But you know what? Maybe what needs to be done, and I know that it's a tall order, but there should be probably. I mean, the thing about this though is that Zay is part of the Jugganati Street team in Ohio. there, like he brought his entourage to do pictures and to show recording and things of that nature. One of those dudes probably could have been recording all the Jugganati sets, but Wolf ended up doing a fine job sitting where he was, and hey, it's cool. There at least was somebody there. Our personal security ninja of the Jugganati ended up doing the live stream for the Jugganati Facebook page, and it's up on there. It is set in stone, and it is all taken care of. So that's cool. Things have worked out. But me, I'm not gonna do it because, granted, the fact that I have a fucking YouTube channel, I don't want to waste my time watching the concert through a fucking screen. That's just me though. So I really don't want to have to fucking deal with that type of shit. Now, another thing that I ended up wanting to say, and I jumped the gun with this, uh, so all of that shit though, set aside, Toledo was a bomb ass show. I'm so happy to be a part of, that show and to participate in the crowd, and I showed love to that. The only downside that I had to say about that show was the fact that it was ear piercingly loud. But then again, I was like 2-3 feet away from the fucking the speaker, so I actually had to hold, like I was literally like 3-4 feet away from the fucking speaker, so I had to put my fucking finger in my ear and just to be able to listen to it on a clear level. Some of it was a little bit squeaky. There seemed to be, I don't know, maybe it was the monitors, maybe it was the audio setup, I don't know. Could have been the acoustics for all I know. But it was very fucking loud. Like, let me put it to you this way. Back in March, I ended up taking my kids to go see fucking not Flogging Molly, Dropkick Murphys. Dropkick Murphys ended up coming in, and we were front line and center, up against the guardrail, in front of a speaker, all three of us. And I did not have to cover my ears. I didn't even need to put my earplugs in. I'm in this bar, and I had to plug one of my ears just so that way the sound would even out. It was fucking loud. Hey, what up, Yo-Yo Mama? So, I mean, but nevertheless, though, it's cool. Never, aside from that, very good show, and I'm happy to have been a part of that, to be able to watch my homies, you know, watching Maximum Overload further his career, watching Zay further his career, and also watching Madness in a resurgence of his fucking career. Because I want to see that happen. I want to see Madness do things, and I want to see Maximum do things. I want to see Zay do things, um, and other people in the Jugganati. I want them to do big things, just like how I want myself to do big things, especially on here or playing video games. Now, before we continue on, though, I do actually have to address a little something, something. And this actually goes back to the last thing that I was talking about, which was, me going to my kid's school for the art show and things of that nature. So, like on the bottom floor, there were a bunch of these things that were going on. Big, like local companies that were passing out flyers and doing test kits and all this other stuff. And I ended up actually getting approached by a company in town that does chiropractic. So they what they did was they ended up taking photos of me from the front and from the side, where I was supposed to stand upright and in my natural position. So which basically I kind of slouch. But it turns out that when it concerns my fucking spine, um, there are some problems. I have some spinal issues. Specifically, what really scared the hell out of me was my neck. Because if you look, my neck actually juts out a little far. It's about 3 inches off its normal axis where my neck is actually supposed to be. And it's probably from years and years of me cricking my fucking neck, which I just pop my neck at that given point. Years and years of me doing this and never having a spinal alignment. So it comes to find out that my spinal cord is subject to cutting off certain nerve damages. And according to the science behind the chiropractics, um, like your brain is supposed to be sending nerve signals through your spine to every single one of your organs. Your brain is constantly sending signals to each one of those organs through your nerve endings. And all of your nerve endings are supposed to be going through your spinal column. Well, if your spinal column is all jacked up, then it's not going to actually send the signals to your body in the correct way that they're supposed to, which can be subject to back pain, neck pain, certain things, like stomach problems, bowel irritability, and all of these other things, which I don't have bowel irritability, not in the slightest. I do have quite a bit of lower back pain, I have hip pain, and I also have neck pain. So they talked me into, actually, they didn't even talk me into it. Like, I saw the progress on their little fucking tablet of where my neck is supposed to be, how far it is. This is the thing that scared me the most. Which was the fact that due to my neck being 3 inches farther out than it should be, and so it kind of looks like I got a little bit of a lump in my back. Basically, because of my height and my weight, approximately, my head weighs about 10 to 17 pounds, which I thought was interesting, first off, 17 pounds. But because of the weight of my head and the way that my neck is jutted out, I'm constantly putting about 50 to 71 pounds of pressure on my neck every day. Anytime that I'm sitting up in my natural position and stuff like that, I'm putting a lot of weight on my spine. And, the way I look at it, I want to take care of myself and I want to be here for a long time. I want to take better shit. I do want to take better care of myself. All of these things that end up happening to my body, like I've got a dad bod right now, uh, it honestly feels like, like right here is where my fucking rib cage stops, and it's like it's like another 10 inches to a foot, and that's where my hips are. So I've got a lot of issues right here around the spare tire, and I want to get rid of that. You know, so so they ended up hooking me up with an appointment today, and I ended up going today, which I had to cut out work in order to go to this thing. They gave me, they did X-rays and stuff of that nature. So they're actually going, so I'm going to be going to this chiropractor and, trying to already take better care of my body, which as of right now, I'm drinking zero sugar pop. I'm drinking zero sugar Red Bull. I'm going to start drinking water more often. And I want to start eating a little bit right. I'm going to start trying to eat more home cooked meals rather than going to Taco Bell and McDonald's all the fucking time. And I don't know. I'm sure that in the future, with future episodes and things of that nature, you'll probably end up seeing me getting into a little bit better shape. So enough about me. We're going to go into the next subject, which is the Tomination. So earlier this week, there was an episode of Tales from the Lotus podcast that involved a little bit of heat in between Child's Play Ninja and one rapper from Washington by the name of Tommy James. So I don't know where this came from. I think people have tried to explain this to me, but it still hasn't registered into my brain. Like where the fucking problem is. I don't know if CPN's got a problem with Tommy James or if Tommy James has a problem with CPN or anything of that nature. So on the way home today, I tried to do what I could about trying to soak in whatever information I could about this live stream that ended up happening the other day. And I really didn't get much. All I was getting was, people were fucking with Tommy, and Tommy was taking it a little bit too seriously, especially since, the subject, the subject of it ended up being about Tommy's music. Now, I can understand a musician wanting to take his music seriously. But personally, I think that Tommy James takes his music a little too fucking seriously, and that's what ended up happening on this live stream, which created a blow up. And it ended with Tommy James doing a freestyle on CPN, and then he rage quit. Now, if the whole situation from what I've seen, I'm basically gonna say this. I've been friends with CPN for over for about what 10 years now, um, and so I know what it is when it concerns CPN, and when he's being serious and when he's fucking around and things of that nature. And I can guarantee that CPN was definitely doing just that. He was just fucking around. Like anybody that knows CPN knows that a vast majority of the time when he's on a camera or if he's in real life, man, he is fucking around, and it's fucking hilarious. Let's see, you got to start at the greatest show and then watch the tails, then the next tails to get the whole feel of it. So, that like that. Okay, so I watched. The one thing that I do remember watching, the last episode of the Greatest Show that I watched, really was the fact that the last episode of the Greatest Show that I watched was the one where it was the CPN not Slim One debate, which I mean, I could probably get into that later, but it's still going to be the same fucking decision on my end. I personally think that what he's doing is a bitch move, and that's as far as it goes. And I'm talking about fucking uh, I'm actually talking about that. Oh yeah, yeah. There was that one episode that I did watch. I did watch the Slayer 17 Tommy James episode, and in that case, I kind of did have to agree with Tommy on that episode of The Greatest Show, where Slayer 17's fucking, his persona, his online persona, is good in certain levels of dosage. Uh, Not me, Captain Flannel. I still have that in my head. As a matter of fact, I was listening to the audiobook and I was listening to the Behind the Pain audiobook earlier today, and there was a point in that audiobook that actually the first thing that it made me think of was the ball of sight shit. But if you don't want to talk about the ball of sight shit, that's fine with me. I'll just continue on with whatever else. And okay, so basically, I did watch the Slayer 17 Tommy James episode, and I felt very agreeable with Tommy James on one specific standpoint, and that is that the Slayer 17 gimmick is good in a certain level of dosage, but it's as I said before, and it's the main reason why Slayer 17 got kicked off a second time from the Jugganati Discord, which was the fact that once he gets the ball rolling, it's a snowball effect, and he doesn't know when to stop. You know, there's a lot of people that can only take so much of Slayer 17. Now, personally, I think that the whole thing with what he did, like he started getting into Slayer 17 mode, and he started dumping Prego on himself, and then he washed up, and then he started dumping fucking noodles and fucking uh, Parmesan cheese on himself, and then he followed it up with fucking putting mayonnaise and mustard on his fucking face and shit like that. But like just the screaming and the incessant level of screaming was just enough. I think it would have been funnier if he just did it and didn't say much, or if he was just like, "Oh yeah, this is a normal thing. Like this happens all the time in my fucking house." Blah 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 blah. Now I understand that there are going to be some people, fucking Brooklyn, that will think this is hilarious as shit and probably would want to continue to egg his motherfucking ass on. But at some given point in time, it's like Tommy James is trying to fucking say something, and then Slayer 17 just comes out of the fucking woodwork and mayonnaises himself in the face, or fucking mustard, or something to that effect. Which I wonder if that mustard actually stained his fucking face, because mustard does stain skin if it's left on for too long. But then again, he did have the Parmesan cheese covering his face first, so maybe that might have masked or blended in well with the fucking mustard or things of that nature. But yeah, I mean, like, but at the same time though, it is the greatest show. And that is how the greatest show works. Personally, I think that if Brooklyn Menace wants as much anarchy in the greatest show as possible, Slayer 17 ought to just be a mainstay. Now, you know, as far as I'm concerned, that's what that's what the greatest show is supposed to be about, is all of that fucking anarchy. He wants, you know, Brooklyn wants people fucking screaming all the time, and then having laugh tracks and buzzers and sirens and that's hot, goddamn hot. Just constantly fucking blaring and fucking up everything. He wants all of that shit to go down like that because that's his brand of humor. And if that's the case, I think Slayer 17 needs to be on the fucking big screen in the background at all times, doing this fucked up, stupid, fucking crazy shit that he does. So and I suggest that mainly due to the fact that I have seen certain things and had conversations with people about Slayer 17, and I have a different outlook on Slayer than I did before when I started to have problems with him being in the Discord. So with that being said, welcome back to welcome back to the Jugganati Discord, Slayer 17. Slayer Naughty is not necessarily necessary at this point in time. Well, Captain Flannel, I mean what I said. If it's meant to be fucking anarchaic, then that's what the whole series, then that's what it should be. You know? Uh right, but and I'm talking about as the way that Brooklyn Menace has explained it to me, is that he wants the show to be archaic. And if that's the case, Slayer 17 fits like a glove on that show. He should just be on the show all the time. Because as of right now, in the YouTube Juggalo community, there is nobody that is more fucking archaic than Slayer 17. In that conception, Slayer definitely fucking dominates. And I think with that kind of stuff mixed in with all of the hot sauce, which I think honestly, if he's gonna do that shit with mustard and mayonnaise and Prego and all that other stuff, I want to see him do this shit with some Pain 100 or at least some fucking sriracha. Just cause, and that's the thing though. Anybody from here on out that knows about this show and even goes on it, that's what they need to expect, is just some crazy off the wall shit, and they're not going to be able to get their fucking point across. So you might as well just be on the show and accept that not happening. But apparently Tommy James ended up getting upset about all of this shit, and he wasn't, because he basically took the time. He wanted some time to be able to promote himself and his music and things of that nature. And that's at least coming from my perspective of things. He was trying to promote this type of stuff, but he probably should have paid a little bit more attention to what the show's about. And unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to get into that type of shit. So he wasn't able to promote his music properly. He did continue to do that on. He did end up actually being able to do that on an episode later of Tales from the Lotus podcast, where he was able to promote his shit, and things of that nature. But this episode of Tales from the Lotus podcast, where we have CPN and let's see, Skeletor was in there, and then there was also Tommy James, and and it was like, okay, I guess what it was is that they were questioning two things, like his music and how down with the clown he is. There were some things that CPN ended up saying, I guess, in a midst to test Tommy James, in which he ended up getting it wrong. Quit pressing albums out, your shit's litter, was one of the things that he ended up saying. And Tommy James did not understand it. Like, I guess that maybe at the time it just didn't register with him or anything of that nature. But some of the other things that CPN ended up fucking saying about Tommy James was his fucking music, which, as I have already stated before, I know when CPN is being serious and when he's fucking around. And at this point in time, he was legitimately fucking around. Apparently, it's gotten to a point with that type of shit that goes on with Tales from the Lotus podcast. You just got to basically expect that everybody on there is kind of fucking around, you know. And it's basic. And I'm basically gonna say it like this: that is the G-rated version of what goes down in the Jugganati Discord. I will say that. Like compared to what goes on in the Jugganati Discord, the shit that was going on that episode of Tales from the Lotus podcast is absolutely adorable. But once again, since we were talking about the music, Tommy James was taking it a little bit seriously because they were kind of mocking his fucking music. And Tommy James got really pissed off and challenged CPN to a fucking freestyle, to which, of course, CPN ended up adhering to. But to, I guess to benefit Tommy James, CPN's not a freestyler. Shit, I understand that completely. I don't freestyle either. But Tommy James ended up throwing on 8 bars, 16 bars, 12 bars, things things of that nature, you know. And and then after that he ended up rage quitting, probably because he had had enough with all of this shit. Now, at this given point in time, I actually decided that what I was going to do myself, I went on Tommy James's website, on not his website, but I went on his fucking YouTube channel, and I decided to take a look into some of the stuff that Tommy James does. I don't know if that's a glare or if that's a hair. I'm assuming it's a hair because I have hat hair. I'm not a freestylist either, but that was actually kind of fucked up. Now, I ended up taking a look at Tommy James's shit, and I have some critiques. I do have some critiques about some of the official videos that Tommy James has released. So, I'm not saying this to basically diss the boy. I'm just looking at this from, I'm legitimately looking at this from a consumer point of view. Let's see. I remember when you called yourself a rapper, you better know how to freestyle was a big part of the game, but it's so hard people don't freestyle now. Freestyling's not that big of a fucking deal. Take a look at the motherfuckers we listen to, Captain Flannel. You have to take a look into that in consideration. Violent J also said a long time ago, they don't freestyle, they sell their shit. Freestyle ain't fucking shit, to be perfectly honest. A motherfucking artist does not have to promote their talent as being a fucking you don't have to promote freestyling to show how fucking talented you are. I can't freestyle for shit, and I've got people fucking hanging on my nuts about Fantasy Becomes Reality. People think that that's a bomb ass track. You want me to fucking put down a good hot 16? I have to put the shit down on paper. Freestyling is a thing in its own, just like Distortions is saying. And what's fucked up is I have fucking ADHD, and that makes it so my brain works really fast. You would think that I'd be able to freestyle, but I can't freestyle for shit. Neither can Child's Play Ninja. Just because somebody freestyles and has the ability to freestyle does not mean that they're a better rapper than somebody else. Despite the fact that Eminem is a fucking living legend at this point in time in the modern history of hip hop, there's always going to be eventually some rapper that's going to be able to come up after him and be able to outschool fucking Eminem. Even though right now Eminem is pretty much the top guy, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, just because one person can freestyle over another person, that doesn't mean that they're a better rapper down in general. You can't necessarily just freestyle a rap and think that you're the shit. This is where Ned Master started having problems because all of the stuff that he rapped was all straight freestyles. And all of his fucking music sucked dick. Now, when it concerns my critique on Tommy James, I'm going to say this. I like the beats that he puts in, but that has nothing to do with rappers. That has to do with engineers. But so, so the guy that's making his beats, his fucking engineer is dope. The flow that he has is pretty dope too. So if he's producing his own flow, great. I like the flow that he puts in. So there are two check marks right there when it concerns Tommy James. I like his beats and I like his flow. Some of the things that he ended up having to put down on paper, on the other hand, some things that I have found incredibly repetitive. As a matter of fact, in the freestyle that he fucking threw at CPN, I heard 3 references about pee, urinating. I listened to all of his fucking official music videos that he had on his shit. Almost every song had a reference to peeing. That was the thing about it that I had an issue with. There is a thing out there that is called originality. Use it. Not every fucking song that you and these are just the songs that he made into official videos. You know what I'm saying? These are just the songs that he made into official fucking videos. Now I haven't listened to Tommy James's entire discography, in which he said that there are 4 albums that he's come out with. I haven't listened to any of them. I've only listened to the stuff that he was able to put out as music videos. The official music videos. And how is it that I heard like 7 fucking references to urination? 7! And this is including the 3 fucking times that he mentioned this shit in the freestyle that he gave to CPN. That's not creativity. And if that's all you can fucking talk about in freestyling, then there's a problem right there. Just because CPN was only able to throw 2 or 4 bars because he's not a freestylist, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to fucking speed rap and talk about peeing on him in order to prove your point on how fucking talented you are as a fucking rapper. I can do that type of shit too. Obviously, if you listen to my song, I fucking chop, but I'm not a freestylist. Like you heard that shit. Bucking them all out, fucking them all out, I cut off the fingers from removing the jaw. That someone see me do this and they're gonna try to call up on the law. Okay. Now that wasn't like professional sounding or anything like that. I did mumble. But, still, nevertheless. My problem with it mainly was that it kind of lacks in creativity. Now, 4 albums in, I'm sure that there's going to be some things that can be done for future reference. And I want you to take this and adhere to my words. I'm not, and like I said before, I'm not saying this to try to put down Tommy James or make him, or anything like that. I know that the things that I say are not going to stop him from doing what he does, but maybe he'll actually fucking take what I say into consideration. Maybe he'll take it with a grain of salt. I'm just looking at this from a consumer's point of view. Now, there's the other consideration, the official music videos in and of themselves. I watched almost all of the music videos that he put on there. The last one I watched was the one that he did where he was doing a collabo with Choir Boy, and all this was a fucking a collection of video shots from a video game. That's not a fucking music video, bro. I hate to tell you this, but obviously it didn't say in parentheses official video, so apparently this was the unofficial video. But I ended up watching videos like fucking Get It Lit, I think it was, or Lit It Up, or something like that. And I know that this dude is not too far in the game and stuff like that, but whoever you've got going on for you doing music videos is trash. There is now I'm going to tell you this, and this is actually coming from me having 2 years of audiovisual class. Storyboards. Storyboards. What you do is you just you grab a sheet of paper, okay? Yeah, in the middle, you draw 3 fucking boxes. Even if it's stick men, you have to basically draw out your idea of what it is that you want with the music video. It's okay if you have like a stage shot where you're rapping into the camera and things of that, you know, or having something on the side, but if you're actually rapping about something, incorporate a fucking story into it. The closest thing that you had to a story in your music video, which was the best one, was Demons. The official music video for Demons by Tommy James was a, was in my view the best music video that he has. But the problem with that one is, like a couple of other music videos, he started off with Channel 2 news that really had nothing to do with the content of what it is that he was talking about. You know, it basically like at the beginning of the song Demons, it was a fucking news clip about a bomb threat in a building. And you could tell if you're watching the music video because you see the fucking the bomb squad robot going into the building from a establishing shot. And that's as far as it went. And then after that, it started to go into him talking about having a fucking drinking problem in his song. And every once in a while it showed him rapping, and then it would show him at the bar or walking into the bar and walking out of the bar drunk, like that. So like that ended up, that was a good start, but it was only like one verse, 2 times you spit the hook, and the music video went nowhere after that. Like, what do you do after you leave the bar drunk? It's anybody's guess at this point. Are you fucking throwing up like you're bad Santa? Do you go fuck a hooker? Do you chop your dick off? Like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? Is that it? Or do you just go back home and go back to bed? Where's the story going, bro? I'm sorry, but like, storyboard this shit. Just because you have a fucking song that you want to be the single for your album doesn't mean that you have to stand on the opposite side of a fucking chain link fence and rap the whole fucking song in a variety of close-up shots. That doesn't make good for artistry on your end or whoever's the fucking cameraman or the director of the fucking music video. If you're the director of the fucking music video, get a different director. I'm sorry, but no. Like, and this is the reason why I'm not subscribed to you. It's cool to talk to you about things other than music, but I can't subscribe to you because I can't support this. You know, if there was something that was a little bit different than what you were putting up out there, I would more than be down to fucking help you out. Now, I can't necessarily say that, oh, it's because he's doing mumble rap or swag rap or anything of that nature, because it's definitely not like this Yaya the Gremlin bullshit where it's saying the same thing over and over and over and over again for 12 fucking bars, and you call that a fucking verse, you know? At least this dude actually had somewhat of a fucking storyline, which I'm actually interested in. Demons was actually a pretty good idea for a song. It is thought provoking to be able to do a song, call it Demons, and have it be about your interpersonal demons, like Scott Hall style fucking personal internal demons. Drinking. Because drinking can be a problem. Drinking is a personal demon, and I can get down with that kind of shit. Not to mention, I'm a fan of fucking Ouija Max, so I can't necessarily say that the mumble rap shit is a bad idea. And at least this way, you actually have storyline, you actually have verses and stuff like that. But the main problem that I have with the lyricism in and of itself is you talk a little bit too much about peeing on people. Whether it be peeing on your enemies, or peeing on dead people, or peeing on bitches, or peeing on dead bitches, or peeing on your dead bitch enemies. You know, that the way I look at it, come up with something a little bit more original. And especially with the freestyle, like I said, you said the same thing 3 fucking times when you freestyled against CPN. CPN ended up openly admitting that he's not a fucking rapper. That's why he didn't fucking do it. If you pee on people, that's great, but I don't need to hear it fucking 7 times on one channel. And as I said before, and I'm going to close this this section out of the Juggalo Keemstar, the Juggalo Keemstar edition episode of the Crazy House podcast. I'm not saying any of these stuff to promote hate towards the dude. You know what I'm saying? I like Tommy James, and I want to like his music. But there is something that he has, there's things that he needs to do on the come up. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, he can, if he hears this shit, he can take what I say into consideration, or he can take it with a grain of salt. That's on him. I'm just basically looking this as a spectator, as a potential, as a potential customer of his shit. Now, the last thing that I actually want to talk about, and this is the Indy Chicks section. And I saved this for last because this is probably the funniest fucking thing. Does anybody remember what happened about a year ago? Maybe even a little bit more than a year ago. No, yeah, I would say it was around a year ago, where I ended up getting into some fucking heat with one Ronnie of Juggalo Family Love. Or, I mean, Juggalo Family Love. Anybody remember that? Throw out some dragon emojis if you remember that shit. So basically, a year ago, and I'm gonna refresh your memory. About a year ago, I was driving around with my girl, and my phone ended up blowing up with like 26 fucking messages. And it turned out that I ended up getting invited back into the JFL admin chat, where they decided to bring up some things that I ended up saying to Kingzilla in the Discord. Uh, I think this was before it was officially the Jugganati Discord, or maybe it was just after it had just become the Jugganati Discord. And it pertained to some things that Ronnie ended up saying about Ouija Mac, due to the fact that they ended up releasing Gutter Water on their YouTube channel, which at the time I think ended up having about 35,000 views. And to top that off, they ended up also claiming that, specifically Ronnie, claimed that Russell Gang was the sole reason why DCG Con got shut down. So I read this shit and I was like, oh goddamn, I can't believe that happened, but I can't believe that he would say that type of stuff. Hopefully he's been misinformed. And what ended up happening is he ended up considering that to be shit talking. Okay. So because of that, and because of the fact that I didn't answer, like I think within 10 or 15 minutes of them talking shit and me not responding because I was in my car and I was driving and I wasn't able to respond to myself, they booted me out. They booted me out of the admin chat. They booted me out of Juggalo Family Love. And because of that, I ended up making a video public about what was being said, because I actually wanted to talk about this shit to them and probably try to save whatever little bit of fucking partnership that I had with Juggalo Family Love. But, motherfuckers ended up seeing it wrong. Specifically him. And I think it was Ronnie, Lewis, Kyla, Juanita, and probably one or two other people that were all throwing third grade and third rate insults my way. My favorite one actually came from Ronnie, where he said, "I live in a fat man's shadow," referencing Child's Play Ninja, because he has a problem with CPN as well. And in result to this, the live, I ended up posting my video, and then Naomi ends up fucking posting a rebuttal on their Juggalo Family Love website, which I ended up getting a copy of. So, to that extent, what ended up happening is also Naomi ended up becoming the guest spot for what was it? Yeah, for Live with CPN, trying to basically debunk any of the things that I was able to say, which didn't fucking work, because if in the end what ended up happening is everybody went to fucking sleep in the JFL, and except for one member who ended up giving us their user information in order to fucking kick every admin out of JFL, and we took the bitch over, and it's now recently been renamed Jugganati. Well, I wouldn't say recently. Recently at that point in time, I should say. At that given point in time, we took over that bitch, and it had been renamed Jugganati. Now, for about a month, after that fact, uh, JFL ended up opening up a brand new fucking channel, and as of right now, I think they have about 3,000 members and things of that nature, and they're still doing the same shit that they were when they had 23,000 members, things of that nature. Now, the thing about this, and I found this to be incredibly hilarious, is that when we took it over, and some people actually started to figure out what was going on, some people were slightly confused about what had happened. Some of the original members of Juggalo Family Love were very fucking confused about what had happened. Some people ended up leaving because they were coordinating the word Jugganati with Illuminati, which in a way I guess makes sense, because of the difference between the two, the similarities between the two names. Illuminati, Jugganati, same concept, but obviously Jugganati has absolutely nothing to do with the Illuminati. It's just a similar concept, I guess, playing off of a comment that was put in the Juggacord at the time. A comment in the voice chat. That's where the name Jugganati came from. And some people ended up, amidst the confusion, ended up leaving because of it, because they thought, oh god, the Illuminati took over fucking Juggalo Family Love. That's not the case at all. But there were some people that actually rejoiced that we took over the fucking Jugganati. Due to the fact that everything that we had been talking about when it concerned the admins of Juggalo Family Love, they were very much bullies, to a point where a lot of people were afraid to leave, because some people had left, and those JFL admins would cross over and harass the shit out of them and dox them, thanks to Jordan. Would dox these people just for leaving, which made no fucking sense. If people want to leave, then they ought to just fucking leave and have it be the end of that. Instead, people would stay and not fucking post shit or comment on anybody else's posts because they were afraid of getting bullied, harassed, and doxxed by these people. Once we took over Juggalo Family Love and renamed it Jugganati, there were people who actually came out of the woodwork and admitted that this was the case. And a lot of people were relieved at the fact that Ronnie and Kyla and Juanita and Lewis and Jordan and all of these other people were kicked out. And it's been about a year now since that happened. The in-out difference between the time before and the time after we took over the original Juggalo Family Love page, the in and out ratio of the people who have left and the people who have joined we have probably lost around 500 people in the first year. 500 people, but we still added all these other motherfuckers. We added all types of different people, including members of Russell Gang, members of 215 Ninjas, members of the fucking Juggalo Yacht Club, and a lot of other things have happened since then. And there still seems to be some sort of amidst confusion about the Jugganati and stuff. A lot of people have it in their heads that the Jugganati is nothing more than a Child's Play Ninja fan club, in which is wrong. Because it's not, Child's Play Ninja initially was a face. And Child's Play Ninja at the time, out of everybody that was in the Jugganati at the time that we took over JFL, was and probably still is the most popular motherfucker with a voice. And is still to this day trying to explain to people that he is not like the leader of the fucking Jugganati or anything of that nature. Now, where I'm getting at with all of this is that currently, as of right now, we have actually acquired 2 new pinnacle members of the Jugganati, formerly of Juggalo Family Love. Naomi, who is the former head admin of Juggalo Family Love, and Kim, who was Ronnie's fucking wife. I'm laughing in your face over this, son. You lost your wife to your worst fucking enemy, Ronnie. Ha 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 hee hee hoo hoo ha. Now, how fucking hilarious is that? Let's see some diamonds and dragons and triangles and all that other shit to fucking laugh in the face of Ronald, this motherfucker who thought he is a god amongst juggalos. The motherfucker who claims to have saved hundreds and thousands of juggalos and juggalettes from suicide. He may have saved hundreds and thousands of their members from suicide, but he's probably also driven more people into fucking depression and suicide than he would like to actually fucking admit. Not saying that there is anything funny about suicide, but that motherfucker claiming that he has saved that many people from suicide is just outright funny. But what's even funnier is that the Jugganati took your bitch, son. And what did he do? What did he do? Oh no. Instead of being a cuck like he is, instead of being an absolute fucking cuck, he decided to not just be a cuck, but also, during his cuckedness, decided to get people like Lewis and fucking what's his face, Jordan, and Jordan, he basically got Jordan to take time away from pretending to be his twin sister, and ended up having more people like Kyla and Juanita join the entourage of trying to fucking berate Kim for leaving an abusive relationship, in a fucking mental, emotional, and psychologically abusive relationship against Ronnie. Kim left him and posted a fucking video in the Jugganati of what went down after an hour-long argument between those two. Apparently, all this motherfucker does is when he's not working at Domino's as a delivery driver, which is funny and ironic because I'm making fun of him over this, and that's what I do for a living. Now, what's funny about this is that this motherfucker fails at his job so fucking much, he basically blues it up. He blues it up, and in the sense that he basically just sits around and fucking drinks beer and fucking plays video games all day. Like, the only thing that really separates me from him is two things. One, I don't drink, and two, I'm actually successful at my job. I love fucking playing video games and stuff like that. But apparently this takes away from the fact that he's not able to get his bills paid and his water fucking shit is fucked up. It's so fucking bad at that house. Somebody, I can't remember who, I think it might have been Naomi, ended up posting something on Facebook about how at the point that there was one point in time where she ended up coming over and the house was engorged in fucking trash. This motherfucker is a hoarder. It just doesn't get any worse than this. Now, in my defense, I will say this, though. I am not necessarily a hoarder. I am a collector. I have video games. I have over 200 old school video games. That stuff right there is not hoarding shit, though. That stuff is supposed to be in the garage. So that way I could make room for some more of my stuff, but, it is what it is. Go ahead and make fun of me about the stuff that's in the back of my house. At least I have running water in mine. At least if there's something broken, I would fix it. I would fix the sink. So that way I would have the capabilities of being able to do my fucking dishes in something other than my bathtub. Like that's the saddest fucking thing I've ever heard in my goddamn life. Who the motherfuck lives like that? To a point, to a literal point, that you are going to argue with your wife about not doing the dishes despite the fact that you don't have a working sink. What the fuck kind of man are you? And to constantly call her bro and to tell her to shut the fuck up because she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. Bro, it's very fucking simple, son. Fix your goddamn sink and somebody can do the fucking dishes properly. I doubt that anybody really wants to take the dishes and go into the bathroom and fill the tub up with Dawn dish soap just so that way they can do the fucking dishes. Not to mention, let me tell you something, there is a thing out there called priorities. Get that shit fixed, get your bills fixed, and then if you've got enough money to be able to do so, then go buy a fucking six-pack. Then go and fucking purchase your fucking, okay, now this is sugar-free. Yeah, then go out and purchase your fucking PlayStation shit. Then you can purchase PlayStation Plus. Things of that nature. Priorities first, son. This is one of the reasons why I don't have PlayStation Plus. Like I said before, I got like 200 video games. Over here is probably about $3,000 worth of stuff. Altogether, my collection is probably worth like $8,000. But I make sure that my bills are taken care of first. Not to mention, I do delivery as well. And I can guarantee you that Domino's doesn't pay for your gas or your car insurance or your car payment or anything of that nature. Not to mention, you're getting shit and you fucking suck at your job to a point where you're not getting enough tips, are you? Me, on the other hand, I'm raking in probably about $1,000 a week doing the shit that I do. And that's fucking hilarious. Now, in the midst of all of this, now that obviously within the Jugganati, the word's been out. But now I'm making it public, even though I'm probably not supposed to, but I'm going to anyways because I think it's funny as hell to make fun of Ronnie. So this is what happens. She ends up joining the Jugganati, and the thirst is real, son. The thirst is very real. Which I also find funny. Apparently she does too. Because she and I have been fucking talking since I found out about this. Like, I ended up looking on Facebook, and I was like, who the fuck is Kim Willing? Oh, shit. Why is she adding me? Why in the fuck is she adding me? So I took a look through and I saw the video that she posted in Jugganati. I started seeing some of the posts that she ended up posting on her Facebook, and I started seeing Naomi also was recommended to me by fucking Zuckerbot in order to be a friend as well. So I'm like, okay, send friend request to Naomi, and I'm adding her as well. Of course, I was a little bit leery because of the past history that I have with JFL and things of that nature. Now, a couple of nights ago, we're all in fucking, we're all fucking around in Jugganati Discord and everything, and and shit got on fire because apparently CPN ended up bringing up the fact that he saw this picture. Somebody ended up memeing a picture of young Wicked, and it said, "Feeling cute, might fuck my boss's daughter later, I don't know," which created an entire fucking shitstorm of different feeling cute memes. We just memed the fuck out of each other and doing the usual thing that we do in Discord. I think we probably got some good heavy hitters when it concerns the feeling cute memes. I mean, I was getting memed. CPN got memed and shit. Like of him wearing a fucking scarf and lipstick, and even he then was feeling cute. Might go over to Big Will's house later. I don't know. Let's see. My favorite one that I did. Actually, I got two favorites. One of them was of our homie Josh. One of them was of our homie Josh, and this is the one that I made. So I took Josh's fucking Facebook profile, and I said, "Feeling cute, might stutter in your Ned hole later. I don't know." Which is funny because like now that's gonna become a fucking shirt, which is gonna be awesome. And the next one was one that I took of a screenshot of Kim herself, and I wrote, "Feeling cute, might do the dishes later if the fucking sink works." And I know CPN gets memed daily. I've said it before to him and probably in public, and I'll say it again. I envy that motherfucker for his level of popularity. I love it. I'm glad that he has it, but I want it as well. But that's neither here nor there. So we memed the fuck out of this shit. So I think it was it Mackinhose that ended up making one that said it was a picture of JFL and it said feeling cute, might get taken over later. I don't know. It could have been him. It could have been Poetic. It could have been whoever. But that ended up popping up. I can't remember who fucking put that up. But I thought it was hilarious as fuck. Well, some of these memes ended up going from Discord into the Jugganati, which we all know that there are lurkers of JFL that are going to go over and fucking report to Ronnie because there are some lurkers in there under fake accounts that basically, I don't know, these fat, ugly hoes that really just want to, that are basically getting buttered up by Ronnie in the hopes that they might smash, which we'll never do unless Ronnie gets really fucking desperate from his cuckedness. But nevertheless, these people are lurkers in the Jugganati, and they send him over to Ronnie, which Ronnie, of course, gets butthurt and goes on a fucking rampage and ends up having Jordan, his little fucking hacker, and by hacker I mean basically puts your name in a fucking Google search. That's his level of hacking. And basically what ends up happening is he finds Poetic's Facebook account, Poetic Juggalo, and ends up sending him a PM that says feeling cute, might dox you later, I don't know. See the level of appreciation that I have for that one. Just smirt, very smirt of you, Jordan, because if you haven't realized this shit by now, it's been a year since we took over JFL. Your current JFL really ain't fucking shit. And all of the tactics that you have done, this is all you do. This is all you fucking do. You threaten to dox somebody, and you're probably not even going to be able to get the doxing right. As far as I'm concerned, I don't care. You know, it's not like I haven't been doxed before, and it probably won't be the last time that anybody ever leaks my personal information. Do I give a fuck? No, I don't. Because if anything that you're going to do, if you actually did dox me, is you're giving out the address of anybody who wants to give me free shit. Which, by the way, I collect Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Famicom, and Super Famicom, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advanced games. So if I ever get doxed, somebody has my address. That's where you have to fucking send the shit. Or you can just PM me and I'll tell you. Depending on if I like you. Nevertheless, though, he ends up threatening that he's going to dox Poetic, and then Poetic decides to take the fight back to them, and so they start adding more JFL members to continue this third grade onslaught of put downs. You know, the type of shit that you hear while you're listening to while you're playing Foursquare during recess. You know, the stuff that is being said by the guy in the king spot. You know, like apparently that's the situation. And of course, being a member of the Jugganati, we constantly make fun of ourselves and make fun of newer ones, which, by the way, shut up chronic juggalos are talking. We constantly make fun of each other, and basically it's kind of simple, really. You can't really hurt anybody if they're numb to all of the type of shit that you do. Not to mention all of the stuff that JFL does is fucking child's play compared to the stuff that we put ourselves through. Like, have you ever scrolled on Facebook to see that fucking Family Guy card game advertisement and like Peter Griffin like punches himself in the fucking nose? That's pretty much what we're doing in the Discord all the time, and we constantly make fun of each other. But there are people in this online world, such as myself, Child's Play Ninja, Shawnzy, fucking who else? Fat Jesus. Like, we can handle anybody and everybody. People who have been around on YouTube for the longest, we have seen it all. I've been doxxed before. I've had pizzas sent to my fucking house. And you know what I did? I laughed at it. I laughed at my ex-wife when it happened because of how freaked out she got, and I jumped back on YouTube and laughed my fucking ass off at the fact that somebody gave me free fucking pizza while posting gore threads on my Facebook wall. CPN probably got it worse than I did, though. And that wasn't even from trolls. That was from my roommate for accidentally posting a picture of big black cock on his wall. Now, nevertheless, the pizza was absolutely fucking delicious. I will say that. None of them were pineapple pizza. Uh, and the only downside to it, though, was that it wasn't garlic crust. Like, some of them ended up sending pizzas from Hungry Howie's, and they didn't have the gumption to put any of the 7 or 8 pizzas that they trolled me with, and not a single one of them had garlic crust. Fuck the Bill Wagoner crew on top of that, for not giving me that fucking garlic crust. Now, we have Jordan trying to fucking threaten people with the same fucking shit. Jesus Christ, you're adorable, son. Daughter? I don't know what the fuck you are. You look like a 12-year-old boy. And you know what's funny is that he ended up showing me a picture. He ended up showing me the video of him getting married. And this was like an enticement to try to get me back into his good graces, so I could give him fucking incredible information, so that way he could run it back to fucking Ronnie, all while trying to deny the fact that he had any involvement with Ronnie and Ronnie had any involvement with him. But guess what? That shit's documented. I still have screenshots of these conversations. I can still go back into conversations that that were being made at the time that all of that shit initially went down when they tried to go after me. And on top of that, Jordan currently is a fucking admin on Juggalo Family Love. But, you know, that kid's a revolving door in that admin. They hide him when when they have too much heat going on, when he's supposed to be like the main fucking hacker, quote unquote, hacker in JFL to find information on their enemies. I've been an enemy of them for almost over a year now, and they still have not done shit on me. The closest thing that they have done to me personally was fucking Jordan photoshopped a conversation between some person and my ex-girlfriend, claiming that I was arrested and put in court for being a fucking pedophile. That can easily be taken away. That can easily be debunked by going on the internet, searching my name, and trying to find my profile on any fucking pedophile shit. Because you have to be documented on the internet in order to be considered a fucking sex offender. You have to be on the sex offender registry in order to be considered a fucking sex offender. And you can't find that because it doesn't fucking exist. Just the idea of having a photoshopped picture of a conversation between my ex-girlfriend and some rando person does not mean that it's actually true. So, with that being said, since I brought that up, I will say this. I did finally notice that there was a PM from Ronnie this past Sunday, all while I've been talking to his wife on Facebook. I've been talking to fucking Kim since she joined fucking Jugganati. And there's been a lot of things that she and I have actually discussed when it concerns his bitch ass. And also Naomi's involvement with getting her the fuck out. So, basically, what I'm saying is this. I end up seeing this comment. I see this comment that was posted from douchefuck Ronnie, and he basically says, you know what? Hold on. I'm gonna read it verbatim. So I'm going to try to open this up so that way all y'all can hear what was being said. Now, here's the funny thing. Okay, so this is what was being said. He posted on Sunday at 5:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, "What up, pedo? Quit crying, LMAO." And then he later posted another comment saying, "Wah, wah." I didn't see this until 2 days later. Tuesday, 2:29 in the morning. You know what's interesting? Ever since I popped up in JFL, all Kim could ever think about is me. That's legitimately what I said to him. Now, his response to that was LMFAO. You ever looked in a mirror? This is my comment. Yeah. Explains why she left you. Haven't heard a fucking word from him since. Can anybody show me the drop the mic? Because I have not heard from this bitch ass since. I haven't heard anything from Jordan. I haven't heard anything from Lewis. I haven't heard anything from Kyla or Juanita or anybody else in the JFL admins. I have not heard a goddamn thing from them at all. I only needed those two sentences to completely and utterly fucking body Ronald. That's it. Because there's nothing else that he can do or say. Nothing he does, nothing Jordan does, nothing anybody else in the JFL can say or do will ever affect me. Now, of course, the funny thing, though, is that On the side with Poetic Juggalo, our homie, he ended up also facing the JFL troll group. Oh, I'm sorry, the admins attacking him and posting feeling cute memes to him and shit. You know, he ended up getting bombarded by those faggots, and he actually took it like a fucking man. He took it like a boss. He fended off all of them motherfuckers by himself with their little third grade tactics, and it's hilarious as shit. They don't know when to stop. They don't know when to quit. They don't realize how bad of a fucking joke any and all of them are. And I'm not saying this to spite anybody or anything like that. You know me, I call it like I see it. And this is how I see it. They fucking are bullies. And anybody who wants to fucking question that, go into JFL. Currently, fucking go into JFL. You'll probably, and say something positive about Twisted. Say something positive about Jugganati. Say something positive about fucking Kim or Naomi or any other mod that used to be up in there. You know what I'm saying? Now that's funny shit to me because I can guarantee you that that will set off them and trigger somebody, and you're probably going to end up getting bullied. But nothing that they say or do will actually fucking harm you. The reason why is because they're all fucking internet bitches. And if they want to test any of this, plink down $200 and come to the gathering of the Juggalos. I'll be there. A lot of people will fucking be there. Siznak, are you going to be there? Flannel, are you going to be there? I know CPN's going to be there. I know Mackinhose is going to be there. You know who else I know is going to be there? Kim and Naomi. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how many people are going to be posting pictures of themselves with Kim. She's going to be treated like a fucking goddess at the gathering of the Juggalos. I shit you not. And it's hilarious as fuck to see the entire situation go down because, I mean, I think it's personally, I think it's fucking great. Just due to the fact that, well, in one of the conversations that Kim and I ended up having, one of the things that she ended up saying, and I thought this was great, was that when we took over JFL and turned it into Jugganati, she woke up to see that and had a sigh of relief. Apparently, there was a slew of arguments that have been between her and Ronnie over the fact that he would come home from work and she would be watching my shit on her phone. She would be watching live streams or videos of my motherfucking ass, which I thought was absolutely hilarious hearing this shit because it really shows how much of a fucking insecure little bitch he is. You're not going to be able to have somebody if you show that level of insecurity. You're not going to be able to keep a woman if you show that level of insecurity. The Naughty is having a party on Not Slim and Silent J's Ballers Lot barbecue. Yeah, basically. Sounds hot, like that hot chicken. Now, I'm not going to say too much when it concerns conversations that I have personally had with Kim, because I honestly have to say that I think some of those conversations don't need to be talked about. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm fucking saying. But some of the things that I have been talking about that shit, I'm going to basically put it to you like this. I can guarantee you we will not see anybody in JFL that is going to try to come up there and start shit. And the reason why I say that is because, well, for one, Ronnie can't afford to even go to the fucking gathering of the Juggalos. Even if he was able to, I doubt that he would because he's too busy getting fucked up. He's too lazy to. He's basically too lazy to try to save his own relationship, let alone fix his sink. What the fuck makes you think that he's gonna get off his ass and come to the gathering of the Juggalos in a crapalack? What the fuck makes anybody think that any of the other aforementioned people in his admin group are actually gonna fucking show up and try to start shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the God's to honest truth. You know? We're not going to see Kyla. We're not going to see Juanita. We're not going to see Jordan. Definitely not Jordan because that motherfucker barely leaves his house. I live in a basement and I'm calling that dude a fucking dweller. I live in a basement full of shit and I'm calling Ronnie a hoarder. You know what I'm saying? And I know for a fact that there are a lot of Jugganati members that will be there that all know that dude. All of them motherfuckers. Let's move a porta potty to Violent George's Ballas lot. Yeah, we're probably going to need to. But you know, I'm basically telling you this though right now. Since she has joined Jugganati, she has actually gotten more love and respect from anybody else in this. She's gotten more love from everybody in the Jugganati than she ever has in JFL. And the fucked up thing is, come to find out, she's the one who fucking created that shit, and he fucking took it over. And that's where he ended up coming up with this god complex up on there. But the reality is that dude ain't shit. Why? Like it's still to this day, befuddles me the fact that she was able to stay with that dude for as long as she did without tearing her hair out or even going psycho. You know what I'm saying? But one last thing though, and I do actually want to bring this up before I go, and it pertains to their fucking YouTube channel. If you go on their YouTube channel, all you'll really see is that motherfucker has basically posted full album after full album after full album. There's barely any original content on there. Now, it's cute and all that, in a short span of time, they were able to get more subs and possibly even more views than than my channel alone. But the funny thing about all of that is, and I don't know if it's funny to me because it works in one of two different ways. All of the stuff, if not a vast majority of the stuff that they have on their channel, is all fucking copyrighted by either Psychopathic Records or by fucking Real Life Productions or whoever else the fuck they've uploaded full albums from. Okay, so this was the easy tactic in order for them to be able to get views, subs, and hours in order to get partner. Okay, so if they're partner, good for them. But the thing about this though is, and this is the most incredibly hilarious fucking thing, all of this shit that they post. Now, hear me out, Captain Flannel. This is true. This is true what you're saying. They get views by posting albums and it's fucking whack. But it's also fucking hilarious. See, the reason why they hired me to promote Juggalo Family Love was also so that way they could get a little bit of an inside informational scoop on how to run a YouTube channel. And I explained to them that if you use somebody else's copyrighted content, you are not going to be able to make a dime out of the stuff that you post and things of that nature. Now, this comes important because especially a lot of the information that we know about Ronnie, about how he's a broke motherfucker who's not even able to save up enough money to fix a sink, let alone pay the bills. I'm sure that if it was, I'm sure that if they actually listened to me about a year and a half ago when I partnered with them to begin with, things would probably be a little bit of a different situation for them motherfuckers right now, especially Ronnie. The thing about it is that it goes, I'm not sure, but it could go in one of two ways that I could think of. Let's say that for the sake of argument, we already know that they have 1,000 subscribers plus. I think they have like 2.3 thousand subscribers. They have about 2,300 subscribers. Okay, so they passed the 1,000 subscriber mark. That's good. Now, they also have about, I don't know, like 269,000 views on all of the stuff that they've posted, which is all albums. Now, this is where it splits into one of two ways. I'm not sure, but maybe the amount of time that they have gotten for being able to listen to, to play all of those fucking views might have equaled up to 4,000 hours. And this would all be able to get them that monetization capability. But the problem with that is that a vast majority of all of their stuff is copyrighted material. So all of that money that they could be earning based off of the stuff that they have is all going to psychopathic and fucking LSP or whatever the fuck else record companies. All of the music that they've uploaded from Ouija is going to Ouija. All of the music that they have uploaded from ICP is going to ICP. All of the music that they have from Esham, the money's going to Esham, etc., etc., and they have little to no personal original content. Or the other way goes around, and none of that time goes into whatever fucking shit is, you're supposed to have 4,000 hours. It's either all of that stuff goes into their video, into their channel, and they're able to get monetization, but they're not going to be able to because all of their stuff is copyrighted, or all of that time that is spent watching those views, watching those videos, watching those full albums do not count towards the 4,000 hours that they need in order to be monetized. So it's either they're not monetized or they are, but they're not getting any money off of the stuff that they've uploaded, which is hilarious to me because they failed to listen to anything that I fucking said when it concerns that stuff. Now, I understand that Naomi is no longer a part of JFL, but at the time that she was a part of JFL, when the beef started between Jugganati and Juggalo Family Love, she basically did try to say that I was jealous of the fact that they were able to get oh so many subscribers and oh so many views for the Gutter Water album being uploaded. She basically claimed that I was being jealous of that factor. And I don't know if that was words coming out of her own mouth or if she was just relaying shit from Ronnie. I don't know. I never asked her. I never asked her recently if that was the case. And at this given point in time, I really don't care what the situation was either which way, because as far as I'm concerned, I'd actually like to start a friendship with Naomi at this given point in time, especially since she's no longer in the clutches of Ronald Mozingo. So the way I look at it, it's like this. I wasn't jealous of it at all. I was laughing at the fact that anybody that remotely thought that I was jealous, it's kind of a stupid thing to be jealous of because of the fact that they may have had 34,000 views at that given point in time. I think as of right now, Gutter Water on their channel has 47,000 views, and the most popular video that I have has probably about, 21,000 views. But the thing about it is that the 21,000 views on my ICP Twisted Tech 9 video that I did was all original content. And because of that, I'm able to get fucking money off of that shit. Their fucking video, which has now 34,000 views on their Gutter Water full album upload, they ain't getting shit out of it. The difference between the two rests upon the almighty dollar. Because of the fact that I do original content on my channel and JFL doesn't, I make money doing this type of shit. Whether it be donations, super chats, or just views in general. Advertisement revenue. That's the bottom dollar. You know what I'm saying? They was reaching for something with that you jelly from their subs and views, Crazy. I know that. That's the point that I'm trying to make, Captain Flannel, and I think it's hilarious that they actually reached for that. So, Like I said, I don't know if those were straight from Naomi's words and mind, or if she was just relaying something from Ronnie and the rest of the admins. Personally, I don't care. The bottom dollar ended up being, I'm just going to look at it as if it was from Ronnie. And that's because of the fact that Ronnie runs that fucking YouTube channel, and he is so fucking boring to a point that he can't even produce his own original content. The most original content that they actually have on there is Naomi interviewing fucking Kung Fu Vampire, which wasn't a very long interview. It was like 3 minutes long. And like I said, it's not a I'm telling you this right now, it's not a diss towards Naomi. I mean, that's just the most original content that they have, and it's not that much. It's not it's not producing revenue from it's not producing any level of revenue for that channel. That's the facts. My channel, on the other hand, granted I don't have even as much as 2,000 subscribers, I'm still getting revenue from the shit that I do. And that's the beauty of it. Once again, like I said, it all boils down to the almighty fucking dollar. Not to mention, I think that I do a lot better off when I'm doing live streams and things of that nature. I interact with my crowd, and I show love any chance that I fucking get. And I make fun of people that piss me off or or deserve to be made fun of, like JFL, because their admins are fucking retarded. I'm basically going to put it to you like this. It's kind of like putting an authentic fucking racer or somebody who's a professional runner and having them go up against somebody in the Special Olympics. You know what I'm saying? As far as I'm concerned, it's just like that. Uh, because obviously the professional sprinter is going to win, but at the same time gonna feel fucking pity on the retard. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much how it is if you're gonna compare my channel to Juggalo Family Love. I'm going to win, but I'm also gonna feel pity for the retards. and that's pretty much all that I had to fucking talk about at this given point in time. So we talked about the Indy chicks, and I wrote that purposefully, just due to that factor. And the reason why that is because Kim is now living with Naomi, and she's actually improving the quality of her life, according to our conversations between myself and Kim, and that's good because the only thing that you can really do from this point on, after having left such a horrible fucking situation, is just to move on up. You got to get that deluxe apartment in the sky. You know what I'm saying? If you understand the fucking George Jefferson reference, then kudos to you. And on top of that, it seems that she and I actually have a good kinship when it concerns the retro video games, so that's a plus. Which really does help out. And, oh yeah, and also mutual hatred for Ronnie, because at this point it's funny. Now, you know what? The funniest thing about all of this is all of the shit that comes from this fueling hatred between members of the Jugganati and members of Juggalo Family Love. More per se, they're fucking admins. I'm sure that a lot of members of JFL really don't give a shit. Um, but of course, Ronnie's going to go ahead and fan the fire. But the funny thing about all of this is it could have just easily been avoided. Easily been avoided if two things had actually happened almost a year ago. One is that Ronnie actually didn't have to sit on a high horse at all times and fucking immediately hate people just because of minute reasons that they didn't get along with. If he was able to agree to disagree and respect other people's opinions a little bit more, things would run a little bit smoother for him. And this is something that he's never going to be able to do because he has too much of a fucking chip on his shoulder, and apparently he thinks that saving hundreds upon thousands of people from suicide gives him some sort of level of fucking clout. You have no clout. You fucking burn that clout whenever you troll the fuck out of your very own members during and after they leave your fucking group. Now, the second thing that he could have done to alleviate all of this fucking beef between the Jugganati and JFL would have just been the mere fact that he could have read what I said and not took it as a fucking diss, because it obviously wasn't. What I said is that I hope that he was misinformed on whatever information that he got about Russell Gang. That's all I fucking said. And the reason why I said that is because the only person that was anywhere close to being JFL related that was there at DCGCon last year was King Zilla. Anything that Ronnie or any of the admins from JFL at the time could have possibly gotten anything from when it concerned JFL is just mere hearsay. Yes, Russell Gang had some sort of involvement with the things that were going on, but the realism was that Dead Gang Media, specifically Frankie Grunge, was the sole reason why shit got fucked up at the con. He and a gang of fucking three or four other people beat the fuck out of a little kid and started throwing rocks into the vicinity of a child. That was the problem, and that was pre-day. Day one, somebody that was repping Dead Gang Media fucking came in and started shit with various members of 17 Dead, I think, and Russell Gang. All Russell Gang did was retaliate. And all Acetone did was hike his fucking shorts up. I'm fucking with you, Acetone. But the fact is, the truth of the matter is that was the only real involvement that involved Russell Gang. And I was there when it happened. My shit was going on at the time that all of this stuff went on. Mr. Happy himself was privy to the shit that went down, and even he confirmed that this kid came in trying to start shit. And on top of that, it was very close to a bounce house that was there for kids. Second time that there was involvement of children within the vicinity of the shit going down involving Dead Gang Media and Russell Gang or 17 Dead. Both times involving Dead Gang Media, specifically Frankie Grunge or somebody that supports Frankie Grunge. And all I had to say in concerns of what Ronnie was saying, because Ronnie was full out blaming Russell Gang, in which they were calling them Russell League, as if to think that that's some sort of a fucking put down. And I said I hope that whatever information that he got towards this situation was misinformed. Why did I say that? Because I was talking to King Zilla, who was also there with me and a variety of other Jugganati members. See what I'm saying? He took it the wrong way. He thought that I was talking shit, and then thus the war began. If he actually took it the way that if Ronnie actually took it the way that he was supposed to, and understand that what I was saying was not shit talking, but just the fact that he may have been misinformed on the information that he received, he wouldn't, things would literally be different between the Jugganati and JFL. They would still have their home, and we would probably still be growing at a very rapid pace without beef with them. Unless, of course, we actually got more popular than them, which we would have anyways, and then the butthurt would consume him. But you know what? I will say this, though. no regrets whatsoever about how the way things went down. Because of this, uh, shit ended up going down with him and his wife, and we in the Jugganati not only have a new member, two new members that are very, very, very good people, but we also have new friends who understand what it is that we do and are cool with what we do. Probably not as cool with the thirstiness, but still, for a vast majority of it, still pretty fucking cool. So with that being said, I'm getting up out of here. So thank you to everybody that was watching, and thank you to those who were participating in the chat, and thank you to our fucking super chatters. Actually, no, they were donations. In which, by the way, I think this might be for the first time in a while, Violent George is getting dominated by verbal droppings. Little secret, a huge number of JFL members were mass ads by a couple admins, and a bunch aren't even active. Another little secret verbal droppings. I will tell you this. For one, you are the king of Streamlabs as of right now until I finish this shit. Unless Violent George decides to come in with a minimum of $4. The funny thing, and I don't know if I said this in this live stream already as it is, but one thing I will say is that once the Jugganati took over the original JFL page, a lot of people who had been that had been lurking in the woodwork not only breathed a sigh of relief, but also ended up saying thank you to us. There were a lot of people that were giving the Jugganati thanks for taking over that bitch, just due to the fact of how much of a prick Ronnie and all of the other admins were. Because at that given point in time, the only people that were actually posting shit were the admins. The only people that were actually responding a vast majority of times to those posts and commenting were other admins. Very few people that were not admins or moderators of Juggalo Family Love would even respond, because a vast majority of them were even afraid to respond. They were afraid to be open about their feelings about Twisted and things of that nature. Oh, right on, brother. Chris Steven. Okay. Yep. So you know. You know. All right. All right. What up, guy? So yeah, you already know, brother. I never knew what your YouTube channel was. I don't believe you me. I never really realized that you were up in here. You barely. All right. So cool. Cool beans, brother. I can't believe I said that shit. But nevertheless, thank you to everybody that was watching. Thank you to everybody that participated up in the motherfucking chat. And Verbal Droppings, the king of fucking Streamlabs. Which, by the way, all of that Streamlabs money is definitely going to be going into all of that money is definitely going to be going into XSplit. The idea basically is to make it so that way all of the fucking all of my fucking game streams will be simulcasted on here and Twitch. And that's another thing that I should probably make mention of too as well. I know that there are not a lot of people who want to watch the live streams and stuff when I'm playing video games. But one thing is for sure, I'm not expecting everybody to watch my gaming streams, because I know that there are some people who will, and most of you won't. But always know that unless I say otherwise, Wednesday nights, 9 p.m., is usually when I try to do these live streams for the Crazy House podcast every Wednesday. And if things start going smoother, I will definitely be trying to do more episodes of the Crazy House podcast, among other things. I still have yet to set up things for, for Hangouts. I would actually like to set up a specific time and date and weekdate for live Hangouts. as well as possibly taking a look at old school movies and shit. But with that being said, I'm out this motherfucking bitch. And maybe I might do another stream of me playing the Slayers like I did the last time. Like I was doing earlier today. Who knows? But nevertheless, I'm KreyzMcKormik. And I'm out this motherfucking bitch. Jugganati. Deuces.